Simmi Areff joins us in studio.
He knows more than you can imagine.
Is President Barack Obama a Muslim?
Because you know it's going to be a zoo.
It was already a zoo.
Did anything happen while I was gone? Haven't you noticed the whole place is on fire?
Let me tell you why you're here.
But they can only speak in question.
Are there side effects? Or?
Just diarrhea.
My first guess is...
Simmi.
Knock, knock, who's there, this guy?
Lesser known somebodies.
Welcome to Africa's 8th Best Podcast with me, Simmi Areff. 8th Best Podcast and radio station's silliest interview. Today I have a gargantuan broadcaster, one that has gravitas, which is a word I recently read in a legal report. Not only is she a broadcaster, she's also an author and president of the Being Ignored by President's Club. Please welcome with me today in my studio, Iman Rappetti. How are you, Iman?
I hope I live up to your introduction.
Well, firstly, I was doing this prep for my interview, and then my mom said, yo, you know Iman Rappetti is not a real name. I was like, You're telling me the name Iman Rappetti is made up, Layla? And she goes, yeah, it's not a real name. She's from Phoenix.
Your mom read my book, clearly.
I think my mom actually may know you. I was like, which either gave your age away and definitely gave her age away. Yeah. But then she was like, her real name's Vanessa. Mm-hmm. I hope you know this. I was like, no, I didn't. She's like, yeah, it's like Vanessa Moodley. Please tell me that this is a lie. My mother's lying.
I want to keep things fresh in our relationship. So the
there we go. Don't say that, crush. Don't say that, guys. I knew this interview would go absolutely nowhere because Iman is one of my crushes, and Iman doesn't remember the first time she met me, but I remember the first time I met her. And it was...
Honestly?
Yeah, let me tell you. It's two moments. The first moment when I met you, you were on television. Yes, and you were telling me about protests, because that's the only thing I knew about you, is that if there's a person that knew where a protest was happening, Iman Rappetti would be able to verify it and show me visuals about what's going on. It was like, Iman, where's a tire burning in Soweto today? I need to know the road. It's like, you became so good.
Or in Sandton, or in anywhere.
Anywhere. You became so good at protests that you are the forefront of a Fees Must Fall protest, where you experienced students that were angry. Yeah. And then you decided in your bravery to go near a fence where the students were barricaded by the union buildings. Brave, Iman Rappetti, the bravest person in media, to go stand there, no helmet on. These are students. You think these students have WhatsApp? You stand over there and you take the microphone and you show, and then you saw a fence and a rock come towards you. Iman, how do you do it?
You don't think, you just do it.
I mean, so
it's so funny. So there's this adage in journalism, when stuff is happening,
yeah,
the human instinct is to run away from danger.
Yes.
We're hardwired to run towards it.
You are wrong still.
But I have to clear up something and set the record straight. So I remember that day. I mean, it was intense.
Yeah.
A lot was happening, a lot of moving parts. A journalist near me had a rock thrown on his head. He was bleeding from the head. We were broadcasting at one point for about 10 minutes from a Portaloo until the Portaloo got struck by various things.
I remember the visuals. I was there in spirit.
But what also happened was that we were struck by tear gas. And so tear gas, I don't know if you've ever been caught up in tear gas.
I have.
Your eyes will release a wet fluid.
Yes, you start crying for no reason.
And people were like, why is he on Twitter? It was like, why is she crying? She's there. And I was like, dudes. And then I went to some dubious water fountain at the Union buildings, obviously chlorinated, to try and wash my eyes.
Oh, you put chlorine in your eyes.
It was one of those days.
What a hazardous occasion for a journalist.
But it was, it's these moments, because we're co-writing history in a sense. News is the first draft of
That's
history.
how I knew Fees Must Fall was real, when I saw your face. I literally thought it was my buddies being angry. But this is a side note. The one of my favorite stories from Fees Must Fall, no one wrote about it. There was a guy at Wits. I can't remember his name, but he was a hobo. He lived underneath the bridge by Braamfontein. But they would just get this guy for the protest because, you need fighters. And everybody's standing in a circle one day, and I'm standing there with my friend Jan, who's a journalist, also on this podcast. Great podcast, by the way. And
fantastic, the best, the 8th best.
Yeah, the 8th best podcast. And it's actually 3, but I've messed up with the slogan too early. I jumped the gun. I thought it would get to 8, but then went to 3, and I'm like, I can't change the slogan now.
Wow.
So I'm standing there with Jan, and I think Shira Kala was speaking. And then everybody had a chance to speak, and then this guy came to his turn, and he just opened up like a 1.5 liter of orange juice and poured it on top of himself. And everybody cheered, and I was just like, "Wow, is this what the movement's about?" Oh, Ross.
OJ.
I was so excited, but that's the first time I met you. When I first met you in person, I came in to interview you. I know you interviewed me for a show I was doing, and I felt there was a connection.
Yeah.
You just went, yeah. Like,
Do you want to define that connection?
Well, clearly I read into it a lot more than you do because I've just seen your facial expression and you're just like, yeah, the hats. Yeah. Oh, stop it. And you've got curly hair. You know, it's my thing. You know, I write
It's curly
poems.
wet hair right now.
Yeah, right now. But I mean, I've seen hair with curls. You know, I wrote a whole poem about curls.
Did you?
Yeah, curls on girls. My mind unfurls when I see curls on girls.
Ooh.
I know, it's nice. It's in my new show, Love and Other Jokes. But do you remember the first time you met me though? And what were your thoughts?
What I love most about you is that you got 2 feet on the ground. I know your head's in the clouds somewhere,
Always.
but you're so consistent in who you are.
Thank you.
And that's a rarity in the life that we live, especially in this industry where people change. The more hyper-exposed they become, the less intentional, the less honorable,
That's
the
such
less
a-
of themselves.
That's such a lovely answer because one of my questions that I wrote down is because I haven't seen enough of you lately. Like, it's weird. Not as a fan, but because that's inherently how I get my heroes and the people I look up to and stuff. So like I've known Iman from television and radio. I listened to Iman when she was on the radio. And then I've noticed for a year, I can't find you other than for some crazy show on the Live channel where you're talking about love, people being in relationships and getting murdered. I was just like, geez, what's going on over here? I mean, I
go
know
away
Iman
for a
was
bit.
damaged, but I didn't know she was that badly damaged. I was like, what's going on here? So I was just like, so what have you done for a whole year?
Well, it's amazing how time is amplified when you miss someone.
Yes.
A year is as 1,000 years.
It feels like forever. I can't tell you. I know when someone says Iman Rappetti to me, I know exactly what I say. I say, firstly, my crush. And then I go, secondly, hey, do you remember that time she was speaking to Jacob Zuma and he hit her with a cold shoulder? Like, hey, sorry. I was like, do you remember that time she told Johan Rupert, I don't know what room I'm in, my man. I was like, do you remember these things? Where is this person? We are missing the spice of life. You start going onto Twitter. I went into Instagram. 6 photos, Iman. No, girl, please.
You honestly did that? Why did you torture yourself?
Guys, come on. I'm here to find out more about my crush. Where have you been?
Well, I think that you would be attracted to me less if you knew more about me.
Not a chance.
So the
other day I was
mystery-
sitting in Melville and I was speaking to a couple of comedians. I say it like that because they're a bit lesser than me. I know my worth.
Are
I know
you a
my
joke
worth.
broker?
No, I know my worth. I know my worth. I can't be seen in the streets of Melville with other
know,
comedians.
The scandal.
Scandal. And I feel this warm yet delicate touch on my right shoulder and then a graze of leather jackets. And I'm a tall person, so when I sit down, I'm about the size of Iman Rappetti standing. And I see, Iman Rappetti is out on the prowl, maybe. I say, Iman, what are you doing here? And I was like, hello, Simmi. Oh, she knows my name.
No rubbish.
That's true. But what have you done? I want to know.
Well, it's only been realistically only 5 months that I've been away from any kind of broadcast media. And that was really intentional because there are 2 principles along which I'm living my life this year. And the one is a life by design, not consequence. And, the
Elaborate.
other... Well, a lot of times what we do where we land up in life is because we've been set on a path that's been created for us. And that's both a psychological and a sort of, material and practical path. So our parents want us to be certain things or we define for ourselves based on other people's expectations or expectations that we think we have of ourselves. And we say, okay, so that's my geography. That's where I'm headed to. That's who I'm going to be. And that's how I'm going to be defined. But if we really unpack that and we interrogate it a little bit more and we connect more with where we see ourselves internally as human beings, like what are the attributes of the person that I want to become, not the definition of the person, like doctor, lawyer, journalist, whatever. I'm talking about the attributes. Do I want to be kinder? Do I want to be softer? Do I want to be more conscious and aware?
That is exactly how I've been living my life. I didn't know there was a whole principle by it. It's because I come from a brown family. So, you're told as soon as you finish school, like, medicine, law, accounting, engineering, choose the one. You've got $1.
Yeah.
And then I chose this life. I did a BA LLB, but as you can tell, I'm nowhere close to being a very good lawyer.
Well, you still have the gift of oratory.
Oh,
which is
thank you so much.
impressive.
Oratory is my favorite word. Literally my favorite
'Cause
word.
it starts with R.
You can be. It's fine, Iman. If you want to be a dirty person on this podcast, please. It doesn't do any damage to my brand.
There can be an elegance about filth.
Of
can't there be?
course, Iman. I've read parts of your book mainly because every single time I see your book, your face is always looking upwards and always looking at me like, Are you going to buy this thing now?
So my book is always beneath you somewhere. And
Oh my gosh, Iman, please stop flirting with me. I don't know what to do in these moments. You know, I struggle with women, Iman. I know it sounds, guys.
I can't believe that.
I'll be very honest with you. Everybody listening to this podcast, even some of my ex-girlfriends that listen to it, and some of my stalkers. I can't make first moves with women. It's never been my thing.
So how do you get with a woman then?
I don't. So how easy is that? It's every single time I am with a woman, and they generally get very frustrated near the end because they're just like, "Are you going to kiss me now?" And I'm such a sucker for consent these days. You know,
I think it's good.
Yep.
I would rather have over consent.
And that's why with like the whole Me Too movement, and like there was a time where all these comedians were getting outed because they were sexual predators, basically. And someone phoned me and asked me, "Am I worried?" And I said, "Me, Simmi." And like, "Yes, are you worried?" I was like, "No." And it's like, "Why aren't you worried?" I was like, the worst thing I've done with a girl is hold her hand without asking.
Really?
So yeah, straight up. I'm so confident when I search my name on Twitter.
Did you grow up in like, the rural hinterland of KZN?
No, I grew up with hinterland love. No, my mom and dad when growing up, right? I remember things like the one day, when you're young, you have like these, I like to call them small girlfriends. It's not real relationships. You're like
Lila.
15,
They call
16,
them
yeah.
Lila.
Lila, that's a cool name. So I remember a girl had bought me a PlayStation, but then we had broke up like the day after the PlayStation.
It was still in its box.
Yeah, I hadn't even used it yet. And my mom and dad said, "Simmi, how do you feel about this?" And I was like, "About the PlayStation? Dope. Better than my parents, clearly. This person knows what I like." And they're like, "You can't keep it." And they explained to me. And then I went over to her house and I gave it back.
How
And I
old
said,
were
"I'm
you?
so sorry." 14, 15.
So she had rich parents then.
Yeah, she did. She did. But like I've never, and also because I have a younger sister. So I know like my dad, when growing up, he kept on saying like, "Hey, you've got to always look after your sister and always be a role model for your sister, because when she grows older, she needs to find someone like you." So anything that would put my sister in an awkward position, I would always assume that a girl that I'm with should never be in that position as well. So I would hate for someone to just come
It's not a
up.
bad principle. So did you give it back?
Yeah, I gave the PlayStation back.
How
Had
did
to.
she feel about it?
Fine, because
Give me my damn PlayStation,
that's
bro.
exactly it. That is literally it. That is literally it.
Rubbish.
And but like, so like when all these people like, I was like, "Yo, guys, I hold hands." I'm like, that's my.
I love that
That's
though.
my thing.
There's an endearing simplicity and quality to that.
Thank you.
I find that everything these days, everything is hyper-sexualized, hyper-exposed, hyper-violent in our society, particularly. At those tender moments
Are the best.
It's the ballet of exchange, of intention, of a signal,
Yeah.
of a follow through.
Now imagine a person that can't read any signals, and now imagine that you're sitting opposite them right now, because that is me.
I can't imagine a world
Not
like that.
a chance.
You're picking up all my cues quite successfully.
I'm just a soft person, very vulnerable soul.
Really?
Yeah, I've realized that.
You have to have a tough exoskeleton sometimes, because it's self-protecting and it's self-care.
You know, when people talk about tough exoskeletons, inherently a tough skin, I don't have one. I have one maybe when I'm outside of my house, but I'll go home and cry. I've got no problem doing that. And I've got this new thing where I don't cry on my bed.
Where do you cry?
On the floor. It's easier.
There's a Bollywood movie playing.
No, I don't watch Bollywood. I wish. Everybody always tells me, but I know a lot of Bollywood songs. Leave those ones. You know, there's one called Lag Ja Gale by Sanam. It's a boy band I heard in Cape Town. My agent, Osman, very good podcast as well, guys. You should go listen to that one. As you can see, I punt my own podcast prominently. He took me to, and they're like the Backstreet Boys of India.
Wow.
And they sing a song, go, Lag Ja Gale ke phir miye sirata ho na ho, which is like Urdu is so hard to translate into English because it means come embrace me, because this moment may not happen again, but look at the stars. They're not aligned, but they're aligned for us. It's like deep stuff.
Can I round it off with and make it a triumvirate of great Indian songs?
Please
Hindi
go for
songs.
it. Yeah.
So this one is Aad Jaane Ke Zid Na Karo.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Which is and what it means is may you never be far from my eyes. I mean, how beautiful! If somebody said to me,
Mere zindagi ke saath, without you, my life has no purpose. You see, English music can't do anything. You can't do anything.
well, Persian is actually also a very romantic language, and I learned to speak and write it when I was living in Iran.
How did you land up in Iran? If you guys don't know, Iman Vanessa went to Iran. and then became Iman.
Yeah. Well, before
And then went to
before I
Italy
went,
and
I
became
Iran.
Rappetti.
No, Rappetti is a Sanskrit name. It's a Sanskrit.
Did you get to choose your own name?
I chose my own name, and Iman was the one that fit me best.
Why did you even choose a name? You know, I have a whole theory about it because there's no name that is Muslim. Not even Muhammad.
Yeah.
Muhammad's not a Muslim, it's an Arab name.
Yeah.
Because that guy was Muhammad for 40 years. I say
Before.
that guy, but I'm talking about the Prophet, guys. The Prophet, peace be upon him, in case you guys get
Abba.
angry. Yeah, so when people go, it's not a Muslim name, I'm like, what is? Tell me. I would love to know. That's why
It's true.
Yeah.
When I was growing up and I would listen to Arabic music, I had an uncle, so I was in a very Christian family, born again, happy, clapper, spirit filled. And he would hear Arabic and he would think that was satanic. And I was like, but they are Christian Arabs.
Yeah.
Who this is their language.
Whoa.
So there are so many misunderstandings in life. And I think, so I was saying about the two principles that I think we should live by, for me
Yeah,
anyway.
the first one was
One is alive
cool one.
by design, and the other is being incredibly intentional about what you want. Because I think that when you state an intention, you become a magnet for everything that you need to make that intention materialize.
That's wonderful.
So leaving the radio, leaving the television, like leaving, the kind of life that I'd known for the last many years behind, to go into the great unknown. I'm an inventor, Simmi. I've invented something.
What have you invented?
I can't tell you. 'Cause-
Oh my God. It's one of these NDA things.
Yeah, it's one of
basically
those.
You and an influencer are the same thing. Influencers hit me with the same thing. I know many influencers, and about 3 times every month they'll come to me asking me to brainstorm an idea, and then they say, please, can you sign this NDA? And I go, babes, listen, it's not that good. Let someone
Well, mine
steal
is
it.
brilliant because it's going to change the world. I'm
I am
already
jealous.
preparing my Nobel speech, my Nobel medical award.
It's a
acceptance
medical thing
speech.
as well. Will
It
you tell me
is.
off air? Can I start guessing it?
You
Does
can't
it have
start
some-
guessing it. But so here's how it's serious is
Yeah.
I've had this idea for like a decade almost. And then in the last year, kind of like my switches went on and I was like, I have to do it because somebody else will always, the idea will happen with or
Yeah,
without you.
yeah.
And then
I'm
I put
shook,
in
actually.
a lot of my own money to R&D it.
Yeah.
And we're at a place now where we have some really legitimate buy-in from people. We're talking a lot of money to make and create something for the world that is going to change the world.
I'm
I
available
believe.
for employment. I'm tired of sitting at home.
You should never have that mindset. You should always aim to be the rider of your own chariot.
Iman, it's not working. That ride on my own chariot thing, I don't even have a license for that chariot. It is it is not going well. Comedy is struggling at this moment in time in South Africa. It's tough to put bums on
I would
seats.
think it should be the converse, right? Because we're
Nope.
in such a time of like misery, really. And
People don't
depression.
have money. The first thing to go when money gets tight is entertainment.
Well, let's do some goodwill shows and get some major sponsorship around it.
I did a show where I gave every single proceed to Fem Projects, which is
I know, because I interviewed you about
Yeah.
that. But what I'm saying is that we should start a comedy collective that is sponsored by all the major corporates. And in fact, every company that has had the sort of, scandal, the hint of scandal around them, they put money in, they sponsor the show to make people, they should be punished,
Wow, Cricket South Africa,
into
pull
giving
through. Your boy is here. He is waiting.
I think we should work. Now, this is a viable idea. We should workshop that because South Africa needs to laugh. We need to laugh.
But like, if it wasn't for people like you, I wouldn't have the opportunity to tell jokes, because if you don't have good journalists and stuff like that who are really serious, that provide like a source of news, I wouldn't be able to take the mickey out of it.
Did you ever write a joke about me?
Yeah, I've done
to make
it.
fun of me.
No, I never make fun of a person.
Yeah,
I
so
never make
what
fun
were your
unless they're my friend.
Yeah.
So it's different. So
So make a joke about me.
I've done them. I like the protest one. I've done. I remember
What
I
did
was
you say?
I was talking about I wouldn't know where, if Iman Rappetti wasn't on air, I wouldn't know where to burn a tire. Like I've had lots, and I'm like, I use them as throwaways lines, but until I met you, and then I don't think I've done them again, because you're actually one of the few people that actually come to shows. And every single time I've seen you, you've either A, asked about a show, B, promoted the show, or C, actually attended the show. You came to a small club gig of mine in Melrose Arch. And then I still remember you brought, I think it was your daughter, and she couldn't see, so I found a tall chair so she could see.
Yeah.
And I was just like, it's very rare that people come. I always get amazed when I see my friends or people that have interviewed me come, because I always think they're just doing their job to help me promote the show, and they're not really there. Which means that you also care about the arts, and that's what I like.
But you must also remember that in the work that we do, especially as journalists, we're I feel in a sense kind of toxified by a lot of negativity. So even these 6 months that I've been away from the microphone is about just re-inhabiting myself with things that are good, like doing some of my own internal reconstruction work on being happy again, on centering, on finding my place, and what is it that I really want to do? What really makes me happy in the world? You know,
What does make you happy?
what makes me happy is firstly to have agency in my own life, because I feel like I've been a passenger in my own life in a way. Go there, Iman, speak here, do this, do that. I've been directed, so I'm taking charge of that. But also, I'm getting rid of a lot of relationships that have been like deadwood.
Yeah.
That have run their course and have just, they're like frames on a wall of people that
don't
don't
understand
exist
that
anymore.
friendships and relationships can happen like that, and
Yeah.
that you don't have to maintain them throughout your whole life.
You don't have to always keep everyone on
You
for the
don't.
journey. It doesn't have to be a caravan. Sometimes it can be a solo experience.
Yeah,
you
but
know?
also like things run their course, they have expiry dates. I'm just like, sometimes like I look at some of my friends that I have, they've always been older than me, and the older ones generally I keep longer because they have wisdom I don't have. And people my age and a bit younger, maybe they're not there as much as they used to be.
Well, think about it this way. I mean, say you're studying coding, for example, and you've done the course and you've got your certificate and you know how to code. You know, you may...
Oh, you said coding? I thought you said codeine, and I was just like, okay,
Is that why you were nodding so enthusiastically?
I was like, yeah, okay.
But friends are like that. They're like teachers, They're tomes of information, and there's this constant exchange, lesson learning, co-journeying together. Sometimes their input in your life ends. It's run its course. And they need to move on to something else, and you need to move on to something else. But it can always be done kindly.
I've got to ask you this question, and you may... I may lose respect from you depending on the answer.
Ooh, so much pressure now.
Yeah. Do you believe in crystals and stuff? And horoscopes? Don't choose the words very carefully right now.
No.
Okay, thank God.
So I think that everyone finds their own pathway.
Okay.
There are things that I might think are not ground, because I think that science has to go in tandem with things that we believe.
Okay, guys, as Iman says that, I just want to say, if you had to choose between antibiotics and rose quartz, please choose the antibiotics. Please.
I think we should have a healthy skepticism about most things in our lives.
I love skepticism.
And we should also create room for the unknown. So as much as I can say that I don't believe that there's a massive, superior, male being that's running the world and running all of us, I do believe that there are certain things, there are energies in the way that, like you and I are both exchanging energy right now. And as this energy goes out into the world, it's being exchanged with other people, and it's triggering things for them. And that's what we're doing, we're sharing, and there's a transference. If I feel happy and you're in my space, you imbibe some of that happiness and it elevates your spirit.
Yeah, I definitely get that.
So, and look, horoscopes, crystals, it's not really my thing, but
Thank
it does
you.
bring people for whom it matters something. And I think that when you put an energy of belief in something, and when you really, it's like for you it can manifest.
Yeah.
Because the mind is incredibly powerful.
You know, I do believe the mind is incredibly powerful. I think where I get upset with this type of stuff is that someone once offered me to read Eckhart Tolle. I think that's how you say it. I don't
Eckhart
know.
Tolle. Yeah.
I'm not going to say Tolle. I know what a Tolle is. I know what a Tolle is. Iman, I know what a Tolle is. It's my pipi. It's my total
it's a
I know
Tolle,
what a Tolle is.
Can we say Tolle on this?
Yeah, you can say. This is the one podcast in the world where you can say anything except swear. It's like and the only reason is because, guys, as you can tell, the audio is really, really good, and that's because we're using studios at Prime Media, and remember years ago on the first episode of this podcast, it's like, I'm going to show you radio, guys. One day I'm going to get back there. I'm here now, and I don't know what to do. I didn't expect it to happen so quickly. So that's why we can't really swear, because I want them to sell it so I can make money. I'm tired of being poor.
Are you poor, really?
It is tough. I'm not poor. Like, I'm not beneath the breadline, but I'm so
What's your relationship
disillusioned.
with money?
I want to make sure my bond is paid every month.
May
That's
I
my
invite you to
relation.
consider another proposition around money?
If it means going on a date with you and you throwing 100 Rand notes at me, yes, that is the proposition I would love to take
It's far
up.
too basic, and that can happen right now. Done. But,
Okay, please don't throw coins. They hurt. It's not
as my
first
son
rodeo.
would say, I won't make it rain, I make it hail.
Oh, wow. Someone once borrowed 100 Rand from me, and then the next tweet was, I'm in the club, and I said, please make it drizzle with my money.
I don't think they make 5-cent coins anymore.
They don't. Okay, continue. What's your proposition?
All it is, it's like the lubrication in the machine is what money is. It's an energy. If you give it too much power as the thing that will define how your existence is going to be, then you've inverted that power shift. You've given it power. But if you're in charge, your relationship with money changes. And that's how I feel. So when I meet people, or I'm selling a proposition, or I'm wanting to, sign a deal for my business, or create relationships with people where money is going to be an outcome somewhere along the line. Because that's not my primary intention, that gives off an energy. It gives off a kind of desperation.
Yeah.
There's nothing that stinks worse than desperation.
Can you smell it on me?
It reeks from a mile off.
Wow, thank you. Wow,
it does.
Thank you.
But if you know that it's your servant, it's not your master.
Can I tell you what I'm actually tired of? It's not a money thing. I'm disillusioned with my industry. I'm disillusioned with lots of things, and specifically in a South African context, I'm disillusioned in it. There's only so much energy I can give towards doing the thing that I do, and I'm tired of it. I'm tired. Like every single time I do a show, so my new show is called Love and Other Jokes, because I went through I had a relationship 5 years. So everybody has like a bad love story. That was mine. So I wrote the show, and it's an incredibly emotional show. And every single time I perform it, I'm happy to perform because I love performing. But I get off and I'm so tired, and I'm just like, I don't know if I want to have this up and down so much anymore.
Listen to yourself.
I do listen to myself. That's why I don't do the show often.
I have a theory that I call environmental squeeze.
Yeah.
And it's very simple. It just means that if you're doing something that you're not supposed to be doing for you, and you don't make the choices to change that, your environment will force you to change it.
Okay.
The show is telling you that maybe it's not quite for you, or maybe it needs to be changed, or how you're interacting with your craft is incorrect for you.
Yeah.
So when you stop thinking about it as, I'm going to write a good show, audience is going to come, they're going to pay me, I'm going to get money, and then I can do more. It's got to, your approach and your strategy has got to be different.
Why are you so clever?
I think.
How did you become clever? I closed my laptop because I was just like, these questions I do not need to ask.
Well, I don't know if I am. I just think.
No, you are clever. You are very clever. And it amazes me how you're not rolling these streets with 300 men chasing after you after every corner.
How do you know that's not happening?
You can smell it on
there
you.
There was a crowd outside.
That's the desperation. Oh, no, that's Dior. Finally, our controllers come. What up, Chris? How are you? Good.
Hi, Chris.
Do I need to go somewhere?
No, are you done with
No, I'm still recording. Okay, thank you. Must I call you when I'm done? Yeah. Do I have the studio for a long time? Thank you. I'll call you whenever I'm done. Sharps. Till 12, yeah. That's fine. That's safe.
Thank you.
That's fine.
Are you going to edit that out?
Yeah.
Okay.
The podcast will go. I'll edit everything out. We are talking about the stench of men. You said how many? How do you know there's not men? So tell me, Iman, how do you know there's not how do I know that there's not 300 men out there?
Well, I don't know, and I don't care really, because that's not my intention.
Yeah, I know, because I read an excerpt from someone's book, and let me tell you, I learned things. Someone was wearing heels, going to the club, strategizing how to get the mans, then realized, nah, I'm better than this, and I don't need that. And then it was very cute at the end of it, where you said, you just want, if guys, here's a little tip, just say, hey, do you want to go for dinner? And it's true. That's basically it. And the worst a person can say to you is actually, no. I had a girl that I really, really liked, and I said, would you like to go on a date with me? And she said, no, thank you. And I thought it was the best rejection I've ever received.
Exactly, because there's clarity.
Yeah.
Clarity situates us so perfectly where we need to be. You know, and you know what the problem is? Like, there's so much that like, if you think girl boy or boy girl girl, whatever you know your preference is, there's so much that stands between us before we can even say the first words. It's history, it's self-projection, our own negativity, our alter egos. There's a bunch of crap that's right in the middle, and if you can just kind of push that aside and say, hey, I feel something. Like, I feel like there might be a connection here. Do you want to
I'm going to try that. The one time I was with the girl, but by with the girl I mean I liked the girl, and I was like, hey, I want to hang out with you more, and she just said, cool.
Nice.
Cool. No, cool is not a nice thing to say on the WhatsApps, because
but
you don't
cool.
Cool is like inshallah.
Inshallah,
it's yes. Like, I don't know if it's inshallah yes or inshallah no.
Well, what was the follow up?
Yeah, we went, and I mean,
so
we
there you
speak
go.
And stuff.
There you go. But then you got the right message. I wish all of us would just stop being so afraid. I mean, there are a couple of just basic rules: respect people, be kind, be nice, and also if you're rejected, that's not on you. It's not a bad show. It just means that in this configuration, you're not fitting.
The correct word you used was kindness. That's actually the thing I base everything on.
Yeah.
If a person is not kind, I mean, I don't really care anything else about them. Kindness is so important to me.
You know, kindness and passion are sort of a wonderful... there's a beautiful mixology about that. Like in lovemaking, for example, like you can have lots of passion. But
Iman means sex, by the way, guys. She used the word lovemaking. Old. Old. Lovemaking, guys.
Maybe
Lovemaking.
we've got to return to that because there's a texture about lovemaking which is different.
Speak to me more.
than
I am here
sex,
to listen.
you know.
I am cheese. Grate me, Iman.
Do you want
I'm a carrot. Make me halwa. I'm here for this. Iman, we're running out of time, but I forgot to give you the homework. I don't know why, but you're very impressive, so you'll be able to think quickly on your feet. The first homework was, hey, Iman, for tomorrow's podcast, please bring through a song that means a lot to you and then connect it to a moment so we can speak about it.
Okay, so
Do you need time to think about that, or do you know
Kendrick
one?
Lamar's Fear.
Okay.
Because there's some beautiful
I didn't
intro
expect-
rap
Wow.
to, because he's like my street academic, my street poet.
Oh, I'm with you.
I was at the United Nations a couple of weeks ago. I was in New York. I was
Show off. I'm
showing
joking.
off?
No, I'm
I
joking.
just
I'm
happened to be
joking.
somewhere else in the world.
Iman was at the United Nations. What were you doing a couple of weeks ago? Sitting at home.
No, well, actually, to be accurate, it was on the sidelines of UNGA, which is the UN General Assembly, and we were in a Writers Foundation kind of meeting.
I was
And
at Tasha's in Rosebank.
That's cool. Tasha's is okay. It's cool.
Yeah.
And, to start with that rap was so weird and jarring, I think, for the people in the room because it's not conventionally done. But I find that in a lot of fora that we speak in a way that's so remote and disconnected from the reality of what's happening. We need to reintroduce viscerality and realism and like being immersed in things,
Guys.
And that poem, that opening word about dear God, basically, why have you forsaken us? And, God, earth has basically gone to hell, kind of thing. But it was about where, like, there's so many active wars, I think over 1,000 that are still happening in the world today in a context where we're supposed to be more enlightened.
Whoa.
We have all these tools to be better human beings, but we keep choosing our base selves,
You know what I've loved the most about this interview? And like I very rarely have it with podcasts. It's the reason why I stopped for such a long time. Is that I love engaging a person's mind so I can find out more about them. And I close my laptop and all these things that I prep for to ask Iman, because Iman isn't like a normal guest you have. Just to learn so much about, I love the way you talk. It's like I love the words you use. Like I'm more infatuated with the words that you use than anything else. And I'm just amazed at how talented you are. And I need you to be back on any radio station or television as soon as possible, please.
Thank you. Continue to create verbal symphonies.
Wow, thank verbal symphonies, guys. Yes. Okay, the last question I have on this podcast is I invite all my guests to ask me any question. I'm very good at opinions. I'm thoroughly good at them. So yeah, if you have anything for me.
What are you most afraid of?
Someone asked me that already on the podcast, and it was heights.
I'm not talking about that.
Oh, what are you talking about? Dying alone. That's it. I joke about it in my show because everybody talks about, when I'm talking about love, and I'll just be like, everybody dies alone. I say, I don't know how to end the show properly, guys. So I'll leave you with this tidbit of information. We all die alone. Even if you're married. And then I point to the crowd, the people in the crowd that say they were married. So it's you two, John and Jane, you will die alone. Each and every one of you. No one will be holding your hand. It'll happen on a Tuesday afternoon. That's it. So I think I'm scared of dying alone.
You just never know.
I just find it very difficult to believe that the person I'm meant to fall in love with lives in the same country with me. There's 7 billion people on this earth. I have gone to Japan. I've seen how they treated me there. A king. I can't believe that I'm going to find the person here in Wentworth.
Why not?
The stats.
It could be anywhere. You have to be completely open and vulnerable. You have to suspend all your dogma.
Oh, I've got 3 more minutes and I just want to ask the main question. Iman, are you, as 300 men, is there one that you're taking seriously?
There's one that I'm loving on.
Oh, always. Every single time I speak to you, Iman, you always have somebody, and that's the reason why I never make a move. That's the reason why I never make a move, because I can see it in your eyes. The one day you told me we were speaking outside Power FM, and you were just like, I met a man in a plane. I was like, you meet people on planes. What beautiful life do you live? I've done enough flights, and I've never met anybody. I sit at the emergency exit.
Well,
I've never met anybody.
Always open,
I like this energy thing. Iman, if you don't have any other further questions for me, I'm going to wrap up this podcast and say, I love you so much. Thank you for being on this podcast with me. You didn't have to hang out with a small timer like me when you're living these big app worlds now where it's popping off Nobel Peace Prize, you know. Please remember me when you make your Nobel Peace Prize speech and don't quote Kendrick Lamar. Because Malusi Gigaba a while back.
I know. We're going to be right.
Yeah, we're going to ride. We're going to be all right.
Team Mr. All right.
If anybody wants to find you or contact you, because a lot of people listen to the podcast and then they're just like, oh, I like this person. I want to ask them questions.
Go to my Twitter, Iman Rappetti.
Don't go to her Instagram. There's only 6 photos.
But may I say something to you before
Please.
I go? And that is, stop being so self-effacing. I know that it's a foil.
Yeah.
And I know that it's cutesy and, you know, and it's something you say often.
Yes.
But there's a power in what we say about ourselves. And I invite you to just redefine that beautiful quality that you have in a more powerful way. Because you're thoughtful, you're sensitive, you're endearing.
Stop flirting with me, please. This is
that flirting?
I don't know.
It's just a
I don't know, but when people give me compliments, I don't because I don't know how to take them.
Just say thank you. Be gracious.
Thank you, Iman Rappetti. Thank you, Vanessa. Thank you, Mahmoudli. Thank you. Thinking about Mudli's not your real surname.
No, Rappetti is.
No. What was the first name you
Rappetti.
ever? It was Vanessa Rappetti.
Yes.
You're lying.
From those days,
Vanessa, did you guys hear that accent?
From Durban. Because I grew up in Phoenix.
Where have you been hiding that?
What you mean? How every time I'm talking like this,
do you play Tani?
I don't know how to play that game, but I can play pool.
Iman, thank you so much. I love you.
Love you.
This podcast is proudly brought to you by POC Podcasts. Simmi Areff joins us in studio.
He knows more than you can imagine.
Is President Barack Obama a Muslim?
Because you know it's going to be a zoo.
It was already a zoo.
Did anything happen while I was gone? Haven't you noticed the whole place is on fire?
Let me tell you why you're here.
But they can only speak in question.
Are there side effects? Or?
Just diarrhea.
My first guess is...
Simmi.
Knock, who's there, this guy?
Lesser known somebodies.